sir.
All right, man. For the first time in U.S. history, there were more births among women 40 and older than among teenage moms. For the first time in U.S. history, more babies were born to women over the age of 40 than to teenage mothers. According to the 2023 data from the CDC, women in their 40s accounted for 4.1% of all births, slightly surpassing 4.0% more born to teens. This shift reflects two major trends. Teen birth rates have dropped dramatically due to the better access to contraception and education, while more women are choosing to have children later in life, supported by advances in fertility treatments and greater financial stability. It marks a historic turning point in how and when families are being built in America. Any thoughts?
Yo, I've got a couple of thoughts. Anything stand out to you before I get going?
Yeah, it makes sense financially for women and men too, but your financial, just living in America, a lot of times you don't want to make decisions that's going to impact your life until you're older. And I see the pros and cons of that, but it makes sense in America, in a capitalist society, people tend to focus on their finances before they get the family. And sometimes that you're not going to have the ideal money you want to make, you're not going to have that in your early 20s versus our previous generations. They went and had babies at a younger age. And this modern generation is more focused on financial goals, and you don't reach those goals until your 30s and 40s. I think they said the average millionaire is like, what, 60 something. To reach those financial strides, you're not going to get there till you're older. So this makes sense to me. That's what stood out.
Yeah, so I was trying to write down a few different.
It's a good thing not having, too, it was stood out, not having as many teenage pregnancy. That's a plus.
Yeah, the only issue I really see with teenage pregnancy, because teenage pregnancy is historically and worldwide how most people were born for most of human history. I think the only issue with teen pregnancy now is people aren't getting married anymore as teens whenever they're getting pregnant. I think that's the big deal. People didn't always finish high school. They worked on a farm, or they did whatever, or they worked in the factory. And so they may not have finished, but they had their wife that they met probably in school, and then they got married and they started having kids. People were having 15 to 24 kids at that time period, especially with the mortality rate during birth could be high for various different reasons. Yeah, I think when it comes to something like this, there's multiple influences. That's what I was looking for earlier, influences. I think one thing is marketing. Women and men, especially women, are being marketed to. People make money off women staying single and staying childless and not getting married. Single women spend more money than married women spend. So we've had a tremendous amount of marketing go towards women since outside of even feminism, but just as you have all these big conglomerates and corporations that have all this money just to spend on marketing ads, and with social media and smartphones, you're constantly being bombarded with all type of advertisement and marketing that is subliminal and just directly to you. And so as that happens, as women get all that marketing, being told that,
say what's up.
What's going on?
Oh, you want to say what's up to the film?
Hey, everybody.
What's going on?
This is my sister. Say what's up to the folks. Say what up, folks.
What's the deal?
With this thing, what is it?
Yeah.
Put the thumb there.
Okay.
There you go.
I got it. Gang, gang.
Gang, gang.
What am I talking about? First time in history.
Women versus are having more children than
At
teenage.
later age.
Any thoughts? Well, talk to the camera. Go ahead. Don't be shy. Go ahead.
You don't care.
Yeah, I'll give you something that you can speak to. So I was sharing some of the different influences that are. She leave it? Yeah. So yeah, I was covering
what he was saying. He wasn't listening. Go ahead, explain. All right, you come back. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I already explained the marketing part. I think the Cosmopolitan magazine. I think a very prominent YouTuber, he used to bring up all the time about how Cosmopolitan magazine, a lot of these different magazines were marketing the women. And so women would stay single longer because they had experienced the world. And of course, they're going to spend more money. Like the travel industry is big. Women travel more than men for leisure.
In
Women,
groups too, you see that.
yeah, you see that, and men do it too, but nowhere near the level you're going to see women doing it. If you look at those MLMs that are like travel agencies that are MLMs, you know, if you're familiar with those,
No.
so you'll see women, they'll become like what are those women who work in the airlines that not the pilot, but they're giving you your food and stuff like that.
Yeah, travel stewardess.
Yeah, stewardess. And so people like that, some of them will join these MLMs where they also get you discounts on travel. So they get paid, they work under somebody else, and they recruit people to get involved in their program where they can travel and make money off of travel and get deals on traveling and stuff like that. And you see, that's a very heavily women-dominated industry. And so people make a lot of money off women staying single longer and investing more in their leisure and all that kind of good stuff. Whether you like it or you love it or you hate it, whatever the case may be, that's what we're living in. So part of the reason is because of that, the marketing that's taking place. It's easier once a woman gets with a man, men are a lot more disagreeable, you know, and so it's a little bit of a difference on how money gets spent and priorities change for both parties and stuff like that. So you can see them not spend as much money on those kind of things. So a lot of industries, if we went back to the old ways where women and men got married younger, a lot of industries would go out of business overnight because they thrive on women being single. So that's one of them is marketing career. A lot of times, if you want to have a successful career, you can't take time off by having children and stuff like that, as it's currently constructed with most businesses. And so what happens is women want to have a successful career. They want to achieve big things in their field of study. And that being the case, they prolong child rearing and getting married, things of that nature in favor of academic achievement and monetary achievement. And so that also leads to it. And part of it, things are expensive. Now the conversation about that is if women didn't pursue that type of achievement and they went back into the home, you know, men could get better quality jobs. The market would change. Jobs would pay more because there'd be less people in the workforce. And so there's a debate about the influence of women in the workplace and stuff like that and the pros and cons that go along with that. But I would just say the bigger point is just with careers, when it comes to stuff like that, what happens is people are going to prolong that stuff so they can have successful careers. So especially women, because they have a certain timeline, and with modern science and health and things of that nature, women are able to have healthy children at a later age than before. But women are born with the eggs that they're going to have children. And typically, I think after 30, 35, whatever the case may be, they enter geriatric pregnancies, where the chances of birth defects and the chances of them not being able to have a successful child start to dwindle unless you have the finances to be able to do different types of artificial inseminations or surrogates and stuff like that. Then you come out of luck. And if you're out here in the dating world and you're dating women who are in their mid to late 30s and 40s and stuff like that, you hear them bringing that stuff up. That's on the dating apps. That's in a lot of the conversations. If you go to singles events, you'll hear women lamenting the fact that sometimes they spent too much time out there and then spend the time focusing on family. So that's part of the conversation. Also, just overall selfishness as Americans. Women and men now are like opting for just, hey, I just want to live the best life I can while I'm on this earth. I got goals I want to accomplish, and they're just pushing family out. And the reason why I say that can be selfish is because, like with me, my family, my kids, myself, my dad, and my grandparents are all still around. So you have 4 generations represented there. You see what I'm saying? So my grandfather is able to see his great-grandchild walking and living and talking, and not even just as a baby. That's pretty special. I hope that I get to experience that myself as a grandfather, to be able to see that level of that, to that extent of generation, still walking and talking and be able to be an influence in their life with the wisdom that hopefully I'll have at that time. I don't have it now. I think there's a certain level of selfishness because ladies talk about this that have children later on in life. They often wonder, and men as well, they wonder, am I going to be around to see my grandchildren for that long? And I won't get to spend that much time with them. I won't be able to help my child through that time of their life because I may not be around that long. And so that could be a level of selfishness. You're enjoying your time now in your 20s and even your 30s to have kids closer to your 40s, which means you may not be able to be there to see that many generations still walking around and being influenced in that way. That's a pretty big deal. What do you think? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, My thoughts as far as not able to experience that could be tough. And the older you get, I think that definitely could weigh on your mental. Because it's a trend. People like Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, she's been vocal about having kids in her 40s. She's still planning on having kids. So you see a lot of modern women or today's society, that's what they advocate, and actually encouraging women to wait until late 30s or 40s. So I think it's unfortunate because you're not able to experience certain things that a previous generation experienced.
Yeah, yeah, and then also you see some countries are tackling this more head on, and they're like incentivizing couples to marry. Like I think Korea is one of the places, if I remember correctly, where they're saying, "Hey, we'll give you this money if y'all marry." Because what's happening now, because people are prolonging or pushing out having children and starting families to 15, 20, 30 years after what our ancestors would have done 100 years ago. What's happening is that we can't replace our population. So there's a lot of vacant jobs.
Yeah, that's why they go more to AI, because it's not that they are trying to push out the citizens. It's just that they don't have enough people to operate on.
That's one of the reasons. That in China, where they had to start using robots for doctors because it didn't have enough doctors. Mm-hmm. And so part of the reality is that when these industries are looking to fill positions, they've got to solve real world problems. What do we do if we don't have enough people in this field to be able to fill all those positions? Well, we got to get robots and AI to be able to do it. But that's not going to just cut into people's jobs that aren't there. It's going to cut into people's jobs who actually are there. And so that is a part of it as well. Automation and all those kind of things do displace a lot of people because of the fact that they're trying to solve problems and make sure they have enough manpower or power in general, whether it's from a man or not, to be able to keep the business thriving. So I think you make a really good point with that. So that's something to think about. Obviously,
also too, it's been studies that grandparents have longer life expectancy. Was it longevity or able to live longer when they do experience being grandparents too?
Yeah.
So it actually can help you live longer if you do have kids at a young age. You have grandkids and great grandkids. Actually, motivation to stay on, do all the necessary health regimens you have to do to stay on Earth longer.
Absolutely.
All right.
What we got next?
All right, let's go into